Okay, now we are going to be multiplying and dividing fractions with positive and negative values. The first problem we're going to do is negative 2 1/4 times negative 1 2/3. Now, it's certainly not the only way, but I highly recommend that if you are multiplying with mixed fractions, that you rewrite them to be improper fractions. If you aren't going to do that, you have to use distribution, and it can get a little bit more tricky, so I highly recommend that whenever you see a multiplication or division problem with a mixed fraction, that you rewrite it to be a multiplication or division problem with an improper fraction. So now my problem is negative 9/4 times negative 5/3. Now I know because I'm multiplying two negatives that I'm going to end up with a positive answer. You need to remember your rules for multiplication and division of integers. Those same rules will apply for multiplication and division for rational numbers. So we know because we're multiplying two negatives that our answer is going to be positive. We want to see where we can simplify. So instead of multiplying these out to get big numbers, I'm going to look to see where I have common factors in my numerator as in my denominators. So I see 3/3, that's an equivalent form of 1. And my answer is going to be 15/4. If you want to, you can rewrite that to be a mixed fraction, but you certainly don't have to. 15/4 is equivalent to 3 3/4, but either answer is fine. Okay, next problem. 2 2/3 divided by negative 1 4/9. Again, when you're multiplying or dividing, I highly recommend you get improper fractions. Now, when you're dividing by a fraction, you can always multiply by the reciprocal, and most of the time that's going to be easier. Now, be careful. The reciprocal is not the same thing as the opposite. If you have a negative fraction, the reciprocal will still be negative. Now, remember, it doesn't matter which of your fractions you're saying is positive and which of your fractions you're saying is, which part of your fraction is positive and which part of your fraction is negative. So it doesn't matter if I wanted to make my 9 negative or my 13 negative. Either way, my fraction would be negative. Now, once you've taken the reciprocal of the second fraction, it has to be the divided by fraction, then you can multiply straight across. Again, I find it easier to simplify as I go. So I'm going to make my 9 3 times 3, and then 3/3 is an equivalent form of 1. You cannot try to find your equivalent forms of 1 while you still have a division problem. You have to first take the reciprocal and then get the multiplication problem, and then you can find your equivalent forms of 1. I know because I have a positive times a negative number, my answer will be negative. 8 times 3 is 24, and 1 times 13 is 13. So my answer is negative 24/13. And if you want to, you can change it to a mixed fraction, but you certainly don't have to. As a mixed fraction, I would have negative 1 11/13. Thank you.